This is the module 2, second module. That is just to show you the features, options, the tool, how it works and all. Module 2, it is for creating an interactive report. Here we will understand what is query and why we will write it. We will understand the sources. Actually, we have covered what are all the sources available. How to build a query using interactive analysis. Understanding query properties to improve performance. Creating the first interactive analysis report. Adding document level filters. Adding document level prompts. How to add multiple prompts, the data preview, and how to add report filters. Why do we write a query? What is a query? It is like a query is one or more SQL statements that request data from database. Normally, we will ask like, what is the sales revenue for 2018 year? So if we want to know that, we have to write some query to get the result from the database. So we are asking the database that question. So that is a query. With interactive analysis query manager, we do not have actually, if we want to know anything from the database, we must use SQL, structured query language. There we can write the code like select star from sales table where, sorry, select sales revenue from the sales table where year equal to 2018. Like that, we have to write coding. But with our web intelligence, we do not need to know the SQL. These are based on universes and we can build by using combining objects in the universe. So the question itself is clear, like we want sales revenue for 2018 year. So we will add sales revenue. We will put year in the also in the results objects, and we will put 2018 means year in the query filter also, and we will apply that year filter as 2018. We will run the report and we'll get the output. So here there is no need of knowing SQL. That is the most important benefit for our web intelligence, because we already created all the objects in the universe in a user friendly terms like sales revenue, year, state. So we can, whatever the questions that is being asked by the business, we can create reports just like that by including drag and drop and using some filters. So if we learn the tool, no need of learning SQL. It is always good to know the SQL, but for this using this tool, we do not need SQL to query. We can understand, we can get our answers using just by drag and drop. So if the data is queries are based on universes and can be built by combining objects in the universe. The universe translates the objects presented in the business language into SQL. Here the universe, when we drag these things, it will translate that objects, whatever we dragged into the report, it will translate that into SQL to the database. So if the data is available and the requested data is returned by default in the form of a table. By default, we will get a table. But if we want a cross tab or if we want a chart, we have to again turn that into chart and do some modifications. Why do we build a query? To answer business questions that require data from database. The query is a way to ask the database for information. So our personal questions we can just say, but our business database, I mean business related questions, the database is only keeping all the information. It is recording everything. So we need to ask the database for that information. So it is a way of asking. The query is a way of asking the database for an information. These are the sources available, which already covered: no data source, universe, Bex, analysis view. Now there are also new, this is the older screenshot actually. Now we have SAP HANA online. So we have more options now. If we click on the universe as the data source, these are the list of universes that are available in the repository. That can be .unv or .unx. Web Intelligence supports both universes. Like if the universe is created using universe design tool, that will be saved in .unv. Universe design tool is a older version of designer. If the universe is created using information design tool, that is saved as a .unx. Our web intelligence supports both types of universes. The query can be built using query panel. This is the query panel look. So we have selected eFashion universe. These are the objects and classes created in the universe. So whatever we want to see in the report, we have to add that in the result objects. If we want to filter something like we want to see the data for only Canada region, then we can put the state here and click on select Canada. Or if we want to see only 2020 year data, we can put year in this, add year in query filters, and we can give the value as 2020. So that kind of options are here. So if you want to filter anything, we have to use it in query filter. Whatever is required for our report view, we have to add this in the result objects, and the data preview will be here. If we click on refresh here, it will preview like first some sample data will be visible here. Instead of running the query and seeing the data in the report, we can preview here itself, and if it is everything is fine, we can run the query. These are all the other options like scope of analysis, filters. If I click on this query filters, it is like show or hide query filter. If I click on this, it will be hidden. If I again click on this, it will be visible, show and hide. And this last screen is like a notepad kind of thing is there, right? That is a view SQL. Whatever we are including the reports, there will be SQL get this for that query, there will be backend SQL will be generated. So if you want to see that SQL and if you want to execute that SQL in any database like MySQL or Oracle or Snowflake, we can copy that code from here and we can execute the same from the database side. So the SQL will be generated here automatically. We can see that. These are the query properties available. This is the name of the query, universe is e-fashion. We will limit like how many maximum rows retrieved. Sometimes if there are so many rows like in lakhs or 30,000, 50,000 or lakhs, we can limit that maximum rows retrieved and maximum retrieval time to 5 minutes or so, like that. Based on the requirement, we can limit so that it will be useful to improve the performance of the report. Otherwise, it will load forever for the huge reports. And data, these are the other options like retrieve duplicate rows or retrieve empty rows. If we check on these options, it will retrieve duplicate rows, retrieve empty rows. Security, if we click on this, allows other users to edit all queries. It will allow other users to edit the queries of the report. If we uncheck this, it will not allow the other users to edit all queries of the report. These are all the options available here. Prompt order, if there are multiple prompts, we can keep which prompt should come first. If there are prompts for year and region and something, so we can put like a first year prompt should execute it. After that, after that result, on that result, we should execute prompt for state, something like that. We can put the prompt order here. And context, reset context on refresh and clear context. These are all the some of the query properties. It is used for optimizing query performance. As you have asked already, like performance tuning. Here, these options will also come under performance tuning options. So to create a first Webby report, we will do drag required objects from the universe outline to result objects. From here in the left side to this result objects pane. Here, year, state, and sales revenue, we have selected and added in the result object. There are also document level filters are available. So here the query filters are there, right? This option, query filters. It is used to filter the data for a document level. Whatever we put filters here, it will be applied to total document, total report. For every tab, it will be applied. So that is called as a document level filter. Document level filters are used to retrieve only the data needed to answer specific business question. So if they want to concentrate on only Asia region, we can only put the region in the filter as Asia, and we can fetch the data for Asia and we can do our analysis. If the salesperson or supervisor is from Asia region, he will be more interested in that data only. He will not be interested to see all the data, which will in terms of it will improve the query performance also if we put the filters based on the requirement. To limit the data based on their user profile, if that Asia supervisor of Asia region, he is allowed to see the data of Asia region only. He will not be allowed to see the data of Europe and all. So to based on their user profile, we can limit the data using the document level filter. And to minimize the quantity of data returned to the document to optimize performance. It will minimize the quantity of data that is getting fetched from the database, which will optimize the performance. Filters are applied to queries by adding filter conditions in the query filter pane. So to enable the document query filters, we have to add, if you want to have a state level filter, we can select state and we can drag and drop it in the query filters. Then state level filter will be applied here. Here also filters either could be predefined or user defined. Sometimes what happens is we know like this report is only for Asia region. Then we can put Asia, we can select Asia here itself. But sometimes what happens is it is based on the user. This report is for like a global report, but we will put the filter for region and we will give the options to select for the user. So whenever a user refreshes the report, it will ask like which region data you want to see. So if you put that kind of thing, so Asia supervisor can select Asia, and the same report can be accessed by other person from Europe region, and he can select Europe. So the same report with different data, it will be appeared, so that it will fetch, it will benefit those users, and single report can be used by all the users. So that is also based on the requirement. We can put it should be a static filter or it should be a dynamic filter like a user defined filter. Filters can also be implemented as prompts like dynamic filters, which I told you. Oh, predefined filters, adding predefined filters. In universe also we can create filters. This year, last year, we can write some formula there. So here it will be, if we just drag in this year, so whatever the formula that they have written to, maybe this year means actually ideally it should be 2022, but yeah, it is based on the formula that they have given. If we click on, if we put this year in the query filter, we should get the current year data. So it will not ask whenever we refresh a report, it will not ask to enter anything, or it will not show anything. Instead, it shows the report for the data of this year. This yellow color filters funnels are represented here with the predefined filters. These are reusable, means these filters we can use for whenever we are using this universe. These filters are appeared for any report which uses this universe. So these are reusable filters. This is a user defined filters. As as I told you, this if we put state equal to California, this filter is applicable to for this report only. If we create one more report, new report, it will not come by default. So there we have to drag and drop again based on the requirement. We can give the values. So that is not a, that is non-reusable filter. Only predefined filters which are already defined in the universe layer are reusable. These filters are non-reusable. So for every report we have to create the filters. Prompt is, as I already told, it is here it is a static filter, so we can't change it. It is, we already gave the California value, right? So whenever we refresh the report, we will get the data for California. It will not ask us to select any other state. Whereas there is also other option of a dynamic filter. A prompt is a dynamic filter. Instead of giving value here, we can select a prompt from these options. So it is a kind of a dynamic filter. It will display a prompt window every time you refresh the data in a document. So if we put that as a prompt, whenever we refresh the report, it will ask us California with the red symbol. We have to give some value from this list of values to execute. So maybe I'm interested to see California. I'll get California and I'll get the data. For the same report, maybe Sena is interested to see Florida data. So she can give the Florida and she can see the report. So whenever we refresh the report, it will ask for the, it will ask us to give the state value, and based on our response, the report gets generated, the data gets displayed. This is a kind of a dynamic filter. It is not a static. These prompts allow customization where users can choose a set of values to retrieve a different subset of the database information and display it in the same report. Prompts could be created at universe creation time, also called predefined prompts, or it could be created at the document level. This is called as the document level. Instead of giving the value here, we can select a prompt here that I will show in the tool also. This is the predefined prompt, which is created in the universe level. This yellow color thing, these are predefined prompts. Prompt for a line item. Here we are not mentioning anything in the document level. This is a predefined prompt, whereas this is the user defined prompt. So year equal to, here instead of giving the value, we will select a prompt, the question mark thing. So it will ask us to enter year. This is the text which will appear when we refresh the report. We will enter the year so that we can see the data for the year that we have given as a response. To create a prompt, we need to specify three elements: a filtered object, an operator, a prompt message. Year is a filtered object. Operator, it can be equal to, not equal to, in list, between. So there are so many operators available. Here we just selected equal to, but there are so many other operators available. And a prompt message here is enter year is a prompt message. For example, to prompt users to select a specific year, we define a prompt on the year dimension. We put the operator as equal to, and we will keep the text as enter year. We can create multiple prompts on a document. There is no limit to create. It is not like we will only need to select a year. Only one prompt is there. It is not like that. Under year, we can add state, or we can add quarter. Quarter equal to enter quarter. So Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, we can give anything. So it is like we can add multiple prompts in the report. If you want to create a prompt, we should make sure we are in a queue view. We should make sure that query filters pane is visible. Then we will select the question which we want to create a prompt by clicking appropriate query tab. So these are the what we say. If you want to create a prompt, this query filters should be visible. This, so here the symbol is there, right? If it is not visible in your reporting, in your query panel, you just click on this. Maybe it is hidden. If you click on this, it will be visible. So we have to have this query filter pan. We have to add some object which we want to create a prompt, and we should give the operator whether it is equal to. Equal to is for giving only one value. In list is for giving multiple values. Not equal to, between, matches. There are so many operators available. So we have to give first. We have to add some object here. We have to give the operator, and we have to give the prompt selection. So from the data type, drag the object on which you want to apply a prompt and drop it into query filter span. Drag the object from the span and drop it into the query filter span. And use the operand type and select prompt. Overwrite default prompt message. Check different prompt options to define how the prompt display. There will be a default prompt messages. You can also override that, and you can give your own text to for the prompt message. And we can click OK to confirm the prompt. These are the prompt properties available. So allows to define, these are the properties like a prompt with list of values. These are the select only from list, optional prompt, keep last values as selected. If we check this optional prompt, so then it is not a mandatory prompt. So if the user don't want to give any values to that report also, it will run the report. So then we will that prompt will not be visible with red color, rather it is visible with the normal black color. So it is optional. We can give or not give. But if we don't select, it is a mandatory prompt, and we must give some value to that prompt to run the report. Prompt with a list of values. So it will be associated with some list of values to select, and keep last values selected. If we put this option, the last values will be selected. Select only from list. So these are the options available in the prompt properties. Default values for a report level prompt can be set. We can put the optional prompt. Use user universe parameter created in information design tool. This is the prompt window in run mode. When we run the report, which has got prompts. If you see here, this is the red arrow is there, right? That means it is mandatory prompt. We must give some value to run the report. Otherwise, it is, if you see here, this OK is disabled. If we give some value, then the OK will be enabled. We can click on that and we can run the report to see the report. So that is a mandatory prompt. We can also apply multiple prompts, as I told you, year, city, state. That can be and or also. If we apply or operation, it will check for year in list values or city and state. So it will check whether if it matches or these conditions match, it will give the report. And means it should check for all the three statements, three conditions match, then only the data will come, like the data which matches with all these three conditions will come into the report. So these are the multiple prompts. You can apply multiple prompts to a single query so that users accessing the same interactive analysis document can limit the data as per their specific business interest. The following section tells you how to combine multiple prompts, combine prompts within other query, prioritize the order of prompts. Here also, we can prioritize which do you want to keep the year as a high priority or a state as high priority. Based on that, we can create. This filters pane should be visible. Make sure that the show or hide filters pane button on the query toolbar is pressed in. If we click on that only, this query filters will be visible. Otherwise, it will not be visible and you will be able to see only, sometimes you will not be able to see this also. So here there are all the toolbar, like one is for available objects. If you click this first one, you will see all the available objects here. If you click this query filter pane, it will be visible here. So for everything, the scope of analysis, one thing is there. This is for combined queries like union, intersection, minus. If you are performing those kind of combined queries, then we have to use this. This is to see the backend SQL of the query. So these are the multiple options available. Once we give everything and we will run the query, we can go to the report view and we can see the report toolbar and all other chart and all other options there. So query panel is very much important. Whatever we want in our report, we have to do from here. So the objects, the filters, everything can be done here. Once we go into the report view, we can add some enhancements. We can format the report. We can change the type of report from table to chart. So everything, those kind of things are possible. We can add some formulas and all. Those kind of things are possible in the report layer. Here in the query panel, the adding the required objects from the universe, enabling some filters and all these options are possible here. So if you add 3 objects and you run the report and suddenly you want to add one more object you forgot to add, then you have to again go to edit from the data access edit, then you will go to again to the query panel to add whatever is required. Here it is clearly shown, like these are the result of objects that we have added in the result objects. This is for designing our query. And if we add these 3 objects and if we, instead of running the query to go to the report layer, if we want to see like how it is getting appeared, we can refresh here. So it is like a query preview, data preview will be there. Starting some sample will be shown here. So if we are comfortable and if we are fine with it, we can run the query. And if we got an idea of adding something else, and if we are thought of adding some query filters or adding some more objects, then we can do and again refresh to see the data and run the query. Here there is also options to see from the sample. We can see, like if you are interested to see Massachusetts or Texas data, instead of going line by line, we can search Texas, then it will show up the Texas data in our preview. These are the kind of report filters. I think report filters we have now today, whatever we put in the query filters are called as a document filters, whether it can be a static filter or dynamic filter or a prompt user defined filter. Everything is come under document filter. We also have a report filters where we use filtering in our report tabs. One tab can have some data and other tab can have something else, some other data use based on the report filters.